What is happening, everyone? So, I have kind of gone back and dipped my toes back into the Call of Duty pot with Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019. So, this is my post-platinum review of the game, and of course, gotta show those credentials as usual. And of course, this time around we have DLC trophies, and in fact, the Spec Ops Special Operations. I wanted to do this before I actually ended up doing the review video, because completely fair to say that like my review is going to roughly be based on just the content that I tackled as per the platinum. I won't actually be talking about multiplayer because it really doesn't feel like a lot of people are playing at the moment, given that this is an older Call of Duty title. So let's talk about it. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019, I think, is a fine game that has some good ideas. I like the idea of sneaking through a house with NVGs, though I didn't follow the story that much, only because I played most of the game silent, like in, mute on and just playing a podcast in the background. Is that a way to play Call of Duty campaign? Depending on who you ask, it may or may not. I don't think Call of Duty's strong point has ever been its story, and whenever it has been, it's been too boring to follow. So honestly, for me, I've just never been bothered to care. So story-wise, not really cared. Now, the meat of the game, though, is its gameplay. The gameplay has and will always be quite solid. Of course, when it comes to complaints about the campaign and the gameplay, is basically like, unless you are being funneled down a very specific path all the time, you need to keep following those directions that the campaign is giving you. Do anything different or anything funny and the game will shoot you dead. The game's veteran difficulty is not very difficult at all. In fact, it's actually quite easy more than anything else. Do I really care about the story? No, not really. So, story to me doesn't really matter. The gameplay, still fairly solid. And at the same time, also worth keeping in mind that the game looks really, really good, even though I've seen a bunch of different glitches, bugs, and things like that. So basically, like, say for example, if I'm playing like, somewhere at night, and this might be just because I'm playing a PS4 game on a PS5, through the wall, I'll be able to see the light of like an enemy holding up a flashlight or having a little light on their heads or something like that, something like that. So there really isn't much to mention from the game's gameplay perspective, because like I said, I won't be talking about multiplayer because I didn't really play multiplayer that much, and that the meat of what I'm going to be talking about actually is going to be the fact that campaign is fine for what it's worth, but above all else, special operations. I hate the way they've handled Spec Ops. I really, really do. So basically, before, we were able to play Spec Ops by ourselves, or we could have other people join as much as we need, 2 people playing together, 3 people, or anything else like that. But this time around, Spec Ops is online only, and you have to be playing with 4 people. You cannot play with less people, because otherwise you will not be able to start a game in Spec Ops, and I absolutely hate that. But it also makes sense that the game itself is very much, how would I say this? It very much does feel like it's intended to be played with 4 people. Like, if you play with any less, you'll likely end up dying a lot. And failing a lot, because there's just so many more enemies. It's a lot harder to kill all the enemies, and a bunch of things like that. So I really don't think that Spec Ops is not good at all. In fact, Spec Ops in the earlier Modern Warfare games were so much better in comparison to this. And it's a damn shame too, because I feel like, things could be done a lot better. The campaign is certainly an improvement upon a lot of Call of Duty games in recent years especially. But unfortunately, they tanked the quality of what 2019 brought to the table with some of their future releases, which I will be doing a post-platinum review on Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 2022, because it's honestly like a damn shame compared to Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 that we got back in 2009, I want to say, which was definitely far and away a better game. And I feel like I could argue the exact same thing with Modern Warfare and this Modern Warfare right here. It has some good ideas. It doesn't execute them as well as I would have liked. I would have much rather, tried to hit harder by trying to be more provocative from a war perspective, make things seem a bit darker, not just things being literally darker and us having to go through houses with NVGs, which again was one of those good ideas in this game. I feel like there's just, like I said, so much more that could have been done, but unfortunately I do feel very, very disappointed by the game's campaign, and above all else, I really do not like the way that they did Spec Ops. I feel like that was a genuine failure on the part of the developers. And then, of course, the fact that, depending on who you ask, I actually like that Veteran is actually not that difficult. So that genuinely is at least something nice, if nothing else. But to some people, they might not like that. To me, that's a bit of a positive. I think that this is just a fairly standard game. And as far as a Call of Duty game goes, one of the better ones, which is kind of almost like disappointing yet sad to say at the same time. So, yeah. Let me know what you guys think about all this in the comments below. I definitely think that Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019 is definitely a very solid 6 out of 10. Yeah, I really do think it's just a solid 6 out of 10. It's an okay game. But with all that being said, though, let me know what you guys think about all this in the comments below. What do you guys think of Call of Duty as a franchise as a whole? What you think about 2019 compared to a lot of the other games in the franchise? How it stacks up and how everything else works out in between. But with all that being said, though, like the video if you liked it, subscribe to the channel. I'm aiming for 500 subs by the end of the year. With all that being said, I do upload every day, so I'll see you guys tomorrow.